So that show I liked because it was artists, theaters, like stalwarts of theater, Girish Karnad, those kind of people were there in the same day, and there were also common people who would just buy a ticket and come inside to watch. So it was a mix of all that, and everybody loved it. You know, I mean, even if people didn't like some scenes, it was not because of the choreography or the dancers didn't do well. It's not about that. It's something to do with, oh, you know, this scene, you know, we want like that. You know, that's okay. Always people have to say something, but that was one of the, you know, yeah, that I remember. But you know, like I said, each show is
has its own
very,
beauty.
Yeah.
So, like you started this company and production in India, and then you were doing some shows in India also. If I ask you, like, what difference did it make that you are now in US? Did it add some value to it, or would it be same if you were in India?
No, it wouldn't be same because I would think that anybody, for that matter, right, not just me, when you move from one place to another, your perception changes. I think so. I mean, it has to, otherwise maybe you're locked up in a house or something. So in Mysore, I know my main focus was on my training. Although I was doing all these things, I didn't realize, I mean, now I can say all that looking back, but when I was doing it. So I was training to be a dancer, I was training to be a choreographer, I was training to be an actor and teacher, and all that. I was doing all these different elements. But now I think when I moved away from that protected space, I say protected because my parents were there. See, I didn't have to do any of the production work. Even if I make a new production, I didn't bother like if the lighting designer is here, or you know, I'll only talk to them, but they made sure everything was there for me. But when I came here,
you were just a performer.
Yeah, I was a performer, and like, you know, I started creating my own work, but still, you know, it was in my own, like, you know, oh, I'll just do this, you know, kind of thing. But at the same time, you know, I learned to be very humble because of my teacher. You know, she was very strict, and I mean, she never yelled at me or anything, but she was very demanding. So then my father would always say, if you want to learn from somebody very good, you better just, you know, bite the bullet and go for it. Otherwise, stop it. Nobody is forcing you. So that's true. Nobody forced me. So all the training, you know, like started to come together when I was lifted from that space, put somewhere else. And then, yes, first few years were very hard for me to be in this country and, you know, not know anyone, and like, if I say Bharatanatyam, oh, you do belly dancing? I'm like, no, that's not what I do. I do Bharatanatyam, I do yoga. It's like trying to explain myself. Now I don't do that, you know, they can call whatever they want to. Slowly, eventually it will happen. People will be more aware, and, you know.
So all the dots got connected?
Yeah, when I was removed from that space, you know, then I started to figure out my own things, and I started auditioning my own dancers for my company, because when I was in India, I had trained a few people, so when I want to make a production, I'll just take my students. But here, when I first came, I didn't have any students. I was just, you know, new to this country. So then I called for an audition, and people showed up to audition, and slowly, you know. Now I have students, but I don't necessarily always work with them. I take some of my students and some from outside, and now one of the dancers I've brought from India, he's here now in the company full time.
So you mentioned some of the hard times when you started. Can you give us any glimpse of what happened, how you fight with it, and what are the challenges that you faced?
I think the challenges continue still. But in different forms, and I think I'm little more equipped to face them. So I think initially, what do you say? I came here after I got married, and my husband was a student. First, we didn't have enough money to, you know, do all the things I wanted to do. Nothing. I mean, I'm a very simple person. I don't shop. I don't do anything. I try to live very in basic minimum things. I think it's very important for artists to be like that, because there is no money for art, right? So if you're like spending on other things, then you can't make art. mean, now I know that, but by nature I'm not a shopper, so which was a good thing for me. So, but still, you know, if you want to make a production, where is the music, right? Where is the money for that? So then slowly we developed, you know, little by little production, and I couldn't work anywhere else to make money to make art, you know, even or whatever. So it took like a couple of years to get my work permit or those things, you know. A lot of people know that struggle, what it means, right? And then I started to volunteer at the dance complex in Cambridge. So if you work, I think it's like if you work 2 hours, you get 1 hour rehearsal free. So what I used to do is I would come in the morning and do like entire day shift. So it's like 8 hours, so 4 hours. 4 hours of rehearsal. So I'll save that 4 hours to, I wait for the dancers to come. So evening 4 hours we rehearse, or 2 hours and 4 hours, whatever. So like that I had to build, you know, from ground up, and then also the fact that you know, you're from a different culture, it takes a little bit of time to understand how you communicate with each other, and you know, in a way, like first everything seems either, oh they're so great, or like, oh so offensive, how can they talk to me like that, you know, both extreme reactions. But then you slowly realize, you know, it's not like that, it's a little more complicated than that. Yeah, so
maybe like the dance form that you're presenting is also a little different, so they don't understand right away, right? If you tell someone that I want to do something like this, what is their reaction? Right?
That has been very positive actually. If I did just typical Bharatanatyam or just martial art Kalaripayattu, then maybe they wouldn't, I mean, then yes, people watch it, I'm not saying they don't watch, but there is an element of exoticization, like you just watch it because somebody looks pretty. Obviously nobody will understand the entire story unless you tell them. Even you do in India, you don't have to explain Krishna ni Vegane Baro, right? Everybody knows that story. Krishna's story, Yashoda is calling, fine. But here you go on stage, you say, Krishna is the one who with the flute, and you explain it. Yeah, I mean, I enjoy doing that, that's nothing, I have nothing against it. But then you are trying to be like, oh, this is what it means, this is what it means. At some level you feel like, do I need to explain all this? Yes, you do, you know. Now I have come to terms with that you have to.
And as like different kind of audience, you have to explain so that everybody understands. And
yeah, but what we do in our contemporary work, the dance theatre, there I don't need to explain anything, because it is part of theatrics, where you know, we speak in English and different languages, but people understand the story, and you know, and the metaphors that are used. But I mean, not metaphors like in language, but in movement. Yeah. I never say this is the flowering tree, look here, this thing I'm hanging. I never say, but everybody gets the point, you know.
Right. So, and in the beginning you must have got good support from your family, your husband?
Yes,
so
very much.
To build on that.
Yeah.
Any specific lesson, like our audience also look forward to doing such kind of thing? There are many audience who do not have the equipment right now, or do not have the ability. They may have dreams, but they don't know how to go about it. So any lesson that you would like to give them, they can...
Oh God. I would think that it's very important not to give up. And at some point, you know, everybody will feel, not just coming from a different culture to this country, but wherever you are, right? As an artist, sometimes you feel like, oh my God, what am I going to do? How am I going to pay the next bill? And what am I going to do the music? You know, all those things are like on top of your head. But the only thing that will keep us going is our passion. Yeah, that we should never give up. You know, everybody has to do a lot of hard work to be in this profession. I mean, every profession is hard, but if you're a computer scientist, you do your hard work, you get your degree, when you get your job, at least you get enough money to survive. Yeah. So for us, it's not like that we don't know where the next check is coming from, or is it coming at all, you know. So then we have to do all sorts of things to make happen.
That gives me another question, like it may be little personal or from a business perspective. is it a good business model? Like you spend so much time, you have a team of people, like maybe 5-10 people working for you, and when you do a show, is it a profitable? Is it a break even? How it is?